Hey everyone, I want to make a video for all of you talking about test anxiety, but not just the anxiety that comes from taking tests and the failure beliefs behind it, but kind of all the belief systems based around accolades in general in schooling. The higher up people usually go, whether it's a master's degree, whether they're doing a thesis, just hearing the way that people talk about this. These are, by the way, everything we are about to talk about was in my top 3 biggest fears surrounding rejection. Not being smart, not having people take me seriously, especially from the chiropractic route, right? My wife used to say, you always have to introduce yourself as the evidence-based chiropractor, right? You're using, I'm an evidence-based chiropractor. And all those particular things, because there's going to be people who like chiropractors and not, and people who don't like medical doctors, and people who don't like that. So all of that involved. And then every type of compulsion, I'm not going to go into every single one, but a lot of the big ones. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this video. I think this is an extremely important topic that I haven't covered in a long time, which is interesting because it affected me severely, the way I talked. And when you listen to people talk about their schooling, you can get a good sense into how little they accept themselves. It's not their fault. They never learned to do this properly. They never learned how to break down their belief systems and realize they could still go towards achieving their goals without needing to attach themselves to it. And before I go any further, hit that subscribe button down below, message Phil, make fun of him. But no, seriously, that's how we get you in right away. And then we have the webinars 8:30 p.m. UK time on Tuesdays. So there's a lot of people that I used to follow when I was super obsessive about exercise research. So I had read every book by Renaissance Periodization, everything by Lane Norton. I was a member of Mass Research Review. Anyone that's in the exercise science realm will know who these individuals are. And I was completely obsessed. And when you're doing that, you actually think you're doing something morally superior unless you understand your beliefs. So if you take individuals, if you look at how they talk on their social medias, so let's say someone is pro-carnivore and you're not, and you don't think it matters that much. And I'm using the exercise science examples to show you. But this is in medicine versus, allopathic medical doctors versus chiropractors, physical therapists versus chiropractors, medical doctors versus physical therapists, massage therapists versus chiropractors. So you see that type of stuff. And that comparison is the thief of joy, as that great quote says. So you'll see people and maybe they'd be like, hey, look, this and that. And then a direct response would be, who are you to question me? I have a PhD in microbiology or something. That, already off the bat, that one sentence right there just told me everything I need to know about your whole life. The way you act, the way you are more than likely with your family. Now, I know you're thinking I'm crazy on this, but I can have a good sense of how you are probably on the road. If you are acting that way in comments about your accolades, you probably get pissed off really easily when people cut you off on the road. Maybe you're at a family dinner and someone brings up a topic that you don't like. I just made these are some of the unique things you get in the WhatsApp groups. This morning I put, 10 things that held me back from recovery. Number 7 was trying to constantly change other people's views on money, politics, religion, exercise, mental health subjects. So many people in all the different groups were like, oof, that's the one for me. Or multiple people specifically pointed out that one and said, that's what I struggle with. It's because society has taught us incorrectly that proving other people wrong is a superior way of communicating. It's actually one of the largest human weaknesses there is. Patience, poise, and calmness, and realizing always when someone is disagreeing with me on one of my social medias, I might say, hey, look, that's a good point, or even if I don't think that, just to kind of ease the tension. It's important to do that. I see it kind of from this way. This is kind of what we see. And if they continue to be negative, I just don't respond. I'm not going to change that person's mind, nor do I need to. But that doesn't mean I avoid all conversations. I do make judgment calls on that. But that's one of the things that people do. Like they'll have their personal Instagram. These are things that no one thinks matters. Their personal Instagram, and they'll write medical doctor, right? Or MD and that. And again, you might think that there's nothing wrong with that, but there can be something problematic with that if you're holding it like a badge. We did a video yesterday on psychosis, and I used this with the trauma. I wrote trauma and then put it. So what people will do is they'll do this. These are really the big ones, PhD, MD, medical doctor, and then they'll wear that right there. And they bring this with them everywhere. Family gatherings, business meetings, this and that. Even the way they talk and they use lingo with people. I always joke around and say when you're talking to an individual that doesn't know anything about medicine or cares to know, they care about how am I going to get better. So it's a habit when we go like the cervical spine. And again, everything I'm saying is all things I wanted to work on. Those individuals don't give a shit what the word cervical. I literally had someone say cervix, like my cervix. A female, I'm like, no, your cervical spine. When I was in clinic, so they don't care. They want to care how to get better and how can they get better the fastest, which is problematic in of itself. Now, because these beliefs are fueled in school, better. How can I be number one in the class? How do I be valedictorian? All of the things that you're going for is not the problem. There's nothing wrong with I want to be in very good shape and very lean. I want to be very intelligent with a lot of accolades. I want to have a nice car. I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to have a wife, or I want to have multiple girlfriends, and I want to do all these different things. That actually isn't the problem. The problem is the way you hold that thing. You hold the belief. 99.9% of the beliefs that people hold can be brought down to a more rational level. Again, if you hold them very rigidly, that's where things start to happen, such as, hey, look, I want to go back to school. I want to get another degree. I really like pushing myself. It's really cool when people see that I work hard, but it's more important to me. But if I don't reach those things, it's not the end of the world. Doesn't mean you won't feel healthy distress or remorse if you fail certain things. But the way that people do it is, this is my belief. This is how I view it. This is why I want to do it, because I have to prove I'm better than you. And I have to prove to myself that I'm not a weak loser person, which that's a really big problematic belief. So when it comes to test anxiety, there's no line in the sand when it comes to correct amount of studying. So people say, what's the correct amount of study? I say, look, you just have to be aware of what you're doing and realize a lot of things in life are handled on a moment-to-moment basis. So let's say you have a test coming up in microbiology, one of my least favorite classes. I had to basically memorize everything because I'm not a microbiologist, so I had to jump through that loop when I was in school, and I had to take it on national boards. Wasn't a fan. My wife brought something up to me the other day about listeria. There was like an outbreak at Costco in the wraps. I'm sure if you go to Costco in America, you might have seen this. And I was like, what is that again? And she's like, did you not pay attention when we did this? I said, no, I just memorized all that, and it goes up my head. Because I just don't see a point in memorizing random facts unless I think it's important, which those are still random facts and they don't matter. So everything I just said makes no sense at all. Zero. So anyway, let's negate that last 20 seconds. But those particular, so let's say you have a test. If you're studying for 8 to 10 hours a day and you're very panicked, physical responses around that, you might want to back off a little bit. Because what's the worst case scenario? You don't study as much. Maybe you acted irresponsibly. You cannot be irresponsible, because that would mean you are irresponsible all times, every time for the rest of your life. So there's no such thing as being weak or being a weak person. You can't be a particular attribute. You can only be a piece of that. A very, like semantics, you can't be a basketball player because you're many other things. A father, a husband, a gardener. You're just a person who plays basketball, even if that's what you do for a living. That might seem like semantics, but if you look at someone like Michael Phelps or Alex Honnold, free soloist, Michael Phelps, most winningest, I think, gold medal in all Olympic history. Both of them, when he hiked El Cap and he won, I think it was when he retired and won the Beijing Olympics, they both went into depressions. And I know Michael Phelps was really bad. That's because they didn't know anything else except for what they did. So they attached themselves to that, which is very, very common, but also very problematic. And that's what we teach people to detach themselves from those particular things. And if you fail a test, you could accept that as well. So when you're doing your homework in the book, this book right here, let's go through one of the exercises right now, because it is really important to go through these. Okay, so the goal is to become comfortable, for an example, with failing a test. Now, acceptance doesn't mean agreement. People believe, like everything, if I get comfortable with that possibility, that will equate to me being lazy. That's not true. Just the world has convinced you, again, incorrectly, that if you're not on top of your A game, like you have to be on top of your A game, you always have to be on it at all times. So the activating event is you pass a test and or you fail a test and or people judge you for failing a test. The irrational belief would be, no matter what, I must pass this test. If I don't, it's awful and I can't stand it. If I fail, that proves I'm an incompetent person who will never be able to get what I want in life. That equals more depression, worthlessness, heightened anxiety responses by constantly looking for that. Your rational belief would be, hey, I don't like failing and that I don't want to fail. I'll put a balanced amount of work in, but if I do fail or if I fall back to old patterns, I can always try again next time. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you get kicked out of school, and that is some people's worst case scenarios in that sense. So there are going to be different levels of that when you're going throughout the recovery, but look at the worst case scenario and then see how your behaviors are. If you're sacrificing everything in your life, relationships, dating, going out with a balanced partying. I mean, you're in college, right? Because be careful online, like I always say. Don't drink. It's the worst thing ever. Not true. Most people are not alcoholics, and you can eat sugar as well. Just to add that into the video, right? People are not the healthiest when they're in college and grad school. It's consuming mass amounts of caffeine and eating shitty foods all day. Not saying it's the healthiest option, but it's just the reality of life for most people. And you can't be a weak person because you do that. And I know people will convince you that you are, right? You know, you think in your head, that's another big problem. So, but think about how rigid you are with those structures. My whole life, this is my only goal in life. Someone just sent me something very unique about the powerlifting and bodybuilding world, which I think could really connect with this. They said that usually people who tend to go all in, no leeway at all, tend to not be the happiest about certain things. So it's a unique way to look at it because, they don't have, like I have my wife, I have my family, I have my dogs, I have my other business, I have the coaching, I have exercise. They all bring different types of joys and different feelings in my life, but it's so hard to be like, this particular one thing is the most important thing in my life. If I lose this one thing, my life is ruined. Because people think, well, that's a rational belief to do that with your partner. Well, your partner could die, and then you're left with nothing. So this is what we have to break down when it comes to relationship OCD, which is the same principle when it comes to passing school and getting accolades. So it took me a long time to detach from that. And the core fear is rejection. Rejection from other people, self-rejection. And that's really how you kind of go about doing that. Again, talking about your accolades isn't inherently bad, but the way that most people do it tends to be problematic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you have any problems when it comes to this type of stuff, we can help you. And if this is finding other people who don't have severe OCD, we work with numerous people who don't have severe OCD. So if you're struggling with performance anxiety, whether it's in school, the bedroom. I work with numerous people who have that. They have anxiety that affects their problem and their libido in the bedroom, and then they don't know how to break that down, and they stop dating or they stop. The amount of people I work with who have said these words to me, I have not engaged in intimate or romance in over a year or 6 months, and it's not that they're single. They're married, they're with someone. Like, wow, that's a big problem. We can help you with that stuff by teaching you how to break your beliefs down and giving you good behaviors to change and so forth. So look for that direct message down below with Phil. Hope to see you soon. Like I said, we work with all time zones all over the world. We can get you in at any time of the day. 24 hours a day, we have someone. We're in all corners of the globe over here, right? We got Dubai, Pakistan, England, me in America, the lone American winning. So, but we can get you in a timely fashion. Enjoy, everyone. Have a good day.